In today's tutorial, we will be talking about electronics, and we will cover this subtopic, which is realization of AND gates. We have already done for OR gates in our previous tutorial, so this is just a continuation. So let me give you a little bit of recapitulation of what we have done. Now, AND gate is actually a device that has two or more inputs and one output. Okay. Now, in Boolean algebra, the term AND is actually represented by dot. Okay. And the Boolean expression A into B equal to Y actually implies that Y equals A and B. Now, the AND gate, just a second, okay. Now, the AND gate can be realized by electric circuit by using two idle PN junction diodes, which are actually given by D1 and D2. And this is the diagrammatic representation of the circuit. Now the resistance R, this is our resistance, is actually connected to the positive terminal of a 5B battery permanently. So the word permanently is important. Now the operation of AND gate can be actually understood by the four subcases or the cases that I'll talk about. Okay, so let us talk about them one by one. So number one. So the first case is when both A and B are connected to earth. That is, A equals 0 and B also equals 0. Now both the diodes which are there, so we have two diodes actually. So let me show you the position of the two. So this is A, this is B, and these are the diodes. Okay. So both the diodes D1 and D2 will actually get forward biased and hence conduct forwardly. Now the diode being idle, so given the diodes are idle, there is no voltage drop that take place across either diode. Therefore, the voltage drop of 5V takes place across R with C at 0 potential with respect to earth. So thus the output Y, that means this one, which is the voltage at C, okay, is actually 0 and this is in level. So this is all about case 1. Let us we will talk in total 4 cases. Okay. So the second case says, when A is earthed and B is connected to positive terminal of the battery 5V, that is A is equal to 0 and B is equal to 1, the diode D1 will actually conduct while D2 will not conduct. Since diode D1 is actually idle, there will be no voltage drop that takes place across D1. Therefore, a voltage drop of 5V actually takes place across R, having D at plus 5 volt and C at 0 volt. And this is all with respect to earth. So now the output Y will actually be 0 in level. Now the third case. When A is actually connected to positive terminal of battery 5V or 5 volt and B is actually earth, so it is the reversed condition now or reverse situation now. That is, we have A is equal to 1 and our B is actually equal to 0. Then diode D2 will actually conduct, but the diode D1 will not conduct. Now since D2 is actually the idle diode, there will be no voltage drop of 5 volt that take place across R, voltage drop that take place across D2. Therefore, what we find is that there will be a voltage drop of 5 volts that take place across R, having terminal D at plus 5 volts and C at 0 volt. Then this is with respect to earth. Now this output, which is denoted by Y, is actually be 0 in level. And the last case is this. So when A and B both are actually connected to the positive terminal of the battery 5V, that is A will be equal to 1 as well as B is also equal to 1, then none of the diodes will actually conduct and there will be no current that will be there through R, isn't it? So what happens that the potential at C is actually equal to the potential at D, which is equal to plus 5 volt with respect to earth. Hence the output Y is 1 in level. So what we find? So we have 4 cases, so we have to generalize it. So let us do it. So we can say that the operation of AND gate is actually based on a particular rule. Again, what is the rule? So let us see. The output of AND gate actually assumes 1 in level only if all the inputs assume 1 in level. So the truth table of actually AND gate, which combines the input A and B to give the output Y, is actually this. And next we will move on to the analog. So this is actually what we have judged, all the 4 cases at a glance. Okay. Now we will move on to the analog circuit of AND gate. So now in the last segment we will talk about the analog circuit of AND gate. That means combining all the 4 cases, we will see how we can fit in this particular diagram. So this is the corresponding diagram of AND gate analog circuit. This is the electric circuit having functions. So it is an electric circuit. Now this particular arrangement, or in this arrangement, off, or we can also use the word open, corresponds to 0, and whenever I will be using the word on, it actually means closed, so it corresponds to 1. Now the inputs are actually introduced through the switches A and B. So these are the ones, okay, and the lightning bulb is actually our output. Okay, so what we see here we find that the bulb actually glows. That is, in other words, we can say that output is 1 only when both the switches, and here the switches are A and B, are actually closed. Otherwise the bulb will remain off, that is, simply output is 0 when either switch, so when either switch A or B, or it may be the case that both are open, then in all the 3 cases we will have output to be equal to 0. Only and only when both the switches are closed we will have output equal to 1. That means the bulb will actually glow. So this is all about the realization of AND gate. In our next tutorial we'll continue with this and we'll talk about NOT gate.